Alright, so I had a lot of requests for some calf training information. Now, what I want to do here before I try and get into any exotic or strange exercises is actually help you to master the regular standing calf raise. I don't have a standing calf raise machine, so I want you to imagine like I'm using a standing calf raise machine. I've actually got a safety squat bar here, and I'm going to hold on to the racks to stabilize. Now, what you want to do here is start with a fairly light weight. And then, like I said, imagine this is a calf training machine, a calf raise machine. You want to get the motion down first before you actually try and start loading this thing, because you want proper technique. Now, there's three key things that I want to drill home here. First, the bottom stretch is the most important position in the calf training, standing calf raise. So in this bottom stretch at every single rep, you want to hold for at least a 3 to 4 count. So that means 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000. Because if you're just doing bouncing calf raises like that, it's not going to work. That means holding that stretch at the bottom position. Now, here's one more tip that you probably haven't heard before, and that is at this very bottom hold position, I want you to kind of let your hips drift back a little, kind of like you were about to do, I guess, the start of a good morning is what I'm trying to kind of envision here for you. So knees are straight, nice and soft. They don't need to be fully locked out, but you want to, instead of being straight up and down, again, start the beginning of a good morning. You don't want to go full good morning, but you want maybe about 5 degrees. Even that 5 degrees, you're going to feel a major difference on the stretch you get in your calves. So like that, letting the hips drift backwards and then coming up. Now, key thing here, only come up about 2/3 of the way. So what you notice, you probably have noticed when you're doing calf raises, is coming up to full, like on point, or fully extended all the way up, like up on your toes, really limits the amount of weight you can use for your calf raises. Now, there has been research that shows that you do not need to do this to get maximum growth stimulation in your calves. There is a point, like I said, it's about 2/3 of the way up. So when you're coming up, it's right about here. So instead of trying to go full toes pointed up as high as you can, which I'm not saying you can't do, but stop the movement right there, hold briefly, lower back down under control, and then sink into that bottom stretch position again for 3 to 4 seconds, and let the hips drift back. Right now, before I show you the full regular set here, there is one quick thing that I forgot to mention, and that is when you're coming up to the top, you want to focus on coming up on the big toe knuckles of your foot. So basically the balls of your feet, but on the toe knuckle side. So instead of letting your calves drift up and outwards, you actually want to focus on coming up inside. That big toe knuckle, that's the key that you want to really focus on as far as keeping tension on, because when you let it drift out to the side, you're kind of just letting momentum kind of roll your ankles out to the side. Whereas to really maximize calf development, you want to find the path of most resistance, which is the inside big toe knuckle side. So keep that in mind when you're doing calf raises too. So I guess 4 things to keep in mind. Focus on one at a time if you need to, but as you kind of develop a better feel for all these tips that I'm talking about, you're going to feel your calves a lot better when you're doing calf raises. So I'll kind of reiterate these as I'm doing it. Now, I found don't really have to worry about pointing your toes in and out. That's not going to make that much of a difference. If you want to, you can, but it's not going to really make a huge difference in terms of calf development. Just go for the biggest bang for your buck. So hold stretch at the bottom, let the hips drift back a little bit like a good morning. Feel that stretch. And then come up 2/3 of the way on the big toe knuckle side. Hold for a second and then lower under control. 1,002, 1,003, 1,004, 1,000, and up. On the big toe knuckle side, 2/3 of the way up. So come down to the bottom again, let the hips drift back into the good morning. Feel that stretch, and then come up 2/3, hold big toe knuckle side. Stretch, hips drift back. Come up. Hips drift back. And then now, as you can see, you're not banging out reps with this, you're not bouncing out of the bottom, you're really focusing on control and making those calf muscles, the gastrocnemius and the soleus, do the work. So once you get the form and technique and these different steps mastered with a lighter weight, then you can start gradually building up on the weight. Don't sacrifice form for weight on this one, because once you start doing that, then you start getting tempted to take shortcuts, like rolling out to the sides, like going too fast, like bouncing out of the bottom. So basically master every level of weight that you're using and build up that weight when you can, and your calves will definitely grow in response.